No problem. Yeah, that's
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Buenas tardes a todos. Hello. I am Patricia Perez, and I'm a volunteer with ARP, and I serve as ARP California's State President Emeritus. Whether this is your first time joining us or you're a regular monthly guest, bienvenidos. Anyway, welcome to our last Let's Talk Dinero with ARP event of the year. Today's conversation let's see, today's conversation is about how to keep your heart and your money protected this holiday season. We'll go over the tactics scammers are using, including appealing to your emotions, tips on how to spot scams, and what to do if you've been a victim of fraud. Scammers are so sharp, so do not be afraid to share if you've been a victim. There are always, but we're actually here to help you prepare from this ever happening again. That's why we've invited Marisela Segura, hola Marisela, with the Federal Trade Commission's Western Regional Office in Los Angeles. Marisela, welcome. Let's start by you telling us a little bit about the FTC and your role.
Thank you, Patricia, and it's good to talk with everyone. I'd like to thank the AARP for inviting me to this important discussion to talk about common scams and frauds that come up during this holiday season, and that, as you said, prey on our hearts. I am Marisela Segura. I'm Regional Director of the Federal Trade Commission's Los Angeles office. As the nation's consumer protection agency, the Federal Trade Commission works to stop unfair, deceptive, or fraudulent practices in the marketplace. We conduct investigations, we sue companies and people that break the law, and we try to get money back to people when we can. But we also alert consumers and businesses about scams we're seeing, as well as try to educate them about their rights and responsibilities. And that's why it's so great to partner with the AARP, because we know that is part of your mission as well. So thank you for inviting me today, Patricia.
Of course, of course. And Marisela, well, a couple of housekeeping duties before we jump in. One is that if you have any questions or comments, please add that in the chats or in the comments section. Marisela will have a lot of questions for her, but she's also here to answer your questions. So please feel free to do that. Also, she's going to be sharing a lot of information. You can take notes, but also we're recording this. So you later on will be able to view this recording as well. So if you miss something, don't worry. You can view it later on. The same thing with any other Let's Talk Dinero videos that you may have missed. You can just visit and you can get those videos, anything that you've missed. We're all about helping you keep your money. All right. Marisela, before we start, I want you to know a little bit about those who are joining us today. So here's a poll question for you, for everybody. Simple yes or no question. Let us know if you have been a victim of fraud or a scam, you or anybody that you know. Do you know anybody who's been a victim of a fraud or a scam? I tell you, they're everywhere. They just prey on everybody, not just the most vulnerable. They prey on everyone. So just let us know if you yourself or anybody you know has fallen victim to a fraud or scam. Let's see, let me end this. There, can you see the results? Overwhelmingly. Ouch. I'm so happy everybody is here. Thank you all for joining us, and that's why we're here, right? We want to know what to do. So today's discussion really is not to scare you, but to inform you and empower you. It's always better to keep your eyes open, como siempre, los ojos abiertos. So, Marisela, what are the top holiday scams, either at California level or nationwide?
Yeah, sure. And nationwide and locally. So they come in different buckets. The first one I'll talk about is online shopping. So this time of year, you're buying a lot of things online, but sometimes what you ordered isn't what you get. Maybe the item is different from what was advertised, or maybe it's damaged. But the worst is if it never arrives at all. And so the problem could be connected to bad business practices, or it might just be an outright scam. How to spot those fraudulent websites. So scammers are sometimes posing as real companies online. Can you hear the feedback?
Yes. And yeah, and later ARP will mute them. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Well, so, they might post a fake ad that comes up on Facebook or Instagram for something, for a product, a very common or very popular item, and the price is too good to be true. It's 80% off. It's a fraction of what it usually is. And so those ads are really enticing. Oftentimes, steep discount on these popular common goods is a sign of a scam. So the advice is you go to the company's website itself. If it's a popular item, like let's say it was a pair of Nike shoes that was listed for like 80% off. Go straight to Nike instead of clicking that advertisement on Facebook and see if you can find the same product there for the same price. If you can't, that's a sign that you saw a fraudulent ad. The other thing you want to do is you want to look at the terms of the sale. So check out the total price, including the taxes, the shipping and handling. Take a look at the expected delivery date, the refund policy, and look at who pays for the return shipping and if there's a restocking fee. Sometimes you might be working, with or buying from a legitimate company, but you just don't know how much it's going to cost you if it doesn't work out and you want to return it. So you want to have your eyes open when you buy these products and find out what all the fees are. Pay with a credit card. Pay with a credit card. If you're billing something and you didn't get the right item, it was damaged or wrong, you can dispute the charge with your credit card company. So your credit card comes with extra protections. And then keep your records, keep receipts, keep statements showing what you paid and when they said they would ship your items. If an online seller hasn't lived up to its promises, you can report it to us at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Just to recap on all the great input you just gave us, all the great information you gave us. All right. Some of my key takeaways. One, if you see an ad, don't click on the link, right? Because it might take you to maybe a third-party fraudulent site. Go directly, maybe to your browser and type in the name of the company, the name of the product or something, or go directly to the company website and see. Right? If it's right. So don't go to these third-party sites. The other one, pay with a credit card, which is perfect, right? Because it gives you that added protection as well. And of course, and we hear this like so many times that if it's too good to be true, it is. So,
Yeah, they're really clever, these ads. They'll have a picture of the item, and it's a real picture taken from the website of the actual retailer, and it looks very authentic. So yeah, just follow those tips. Another group of scams we see right now, let's just call them the gift card scams. If you're in the checkout line buying gift cards, I hope that it's for gifts only, not because, and I hope it's not because someone told you to pay them with a gift card, because that only scammers are going to tell you to pay them with to buy gift cards in certain amounts and read the numbers off to them. So how do you spot these gift card scams? Well, usually gift card scams will start with a text, an email, a social media message. And usually they'll say it's for something urgent. You need to pay someone right away or help someone get out of trouble by paying money. Sometimes these scammers might say they're from the government, like the IRS, the Social Security Administration. Sometimes they even pretend to be from the FTC, my agency, or a company that you know. No matter what they say, it's a trick to get you to go to the store, put money on a gift card, and give them the numbers. The best way to avoid this is if anybody says you have to pay them with a gift card for any reason, that's a scam every time. Just follow that simple rule and you're going to avoid those gift card scams. If you think you gave a gift card to a scammer, act fast, grab that gift card and your receipt and report it. You want to report it to the gift card company. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. You want to, you can visit ftc.gov/gift cards. We have a list of the major gift card companies and their contact information for you to report this fraud. Now, some companies are really working to stop these gift card scams, especially those companies that are offering gift cards, and they might give you your money back. So it's worth asking. And then you want to tell us about the scam, you can report it at reportfraud.ftc.gov, and your report makes a difference. It helps people in your community know what frauds and scams are out there. And so there's more info about these gift card scams and the tips I just gave. If you go to ftc.gov/gift cards, and it has the list of the retailers and their numbers in case you feel like you've fallen, that you've actually paid a scammer with one of these gift cards.
The other thing about gift cards is that don't think that you're talking about thousands of dollars, even hundreds of dollars. It could be $10, $20, because they go by the bulk, right? They
That's right.
So no matter what it is, please report it, because you might think, $10, $10, I'm not going to miss it. Those are scammers. So please report it. Do what Maricela just said. Go, oh, there it is. ftc.org/gift cards, and then you can report it. So, and many of us think that gift cards are easier, so we're not mailing cash or we're not giving away cash, but we just, of course, need to be
And
careful.
that's fine for gifts. You want to give someone a gift card so they can buy their own thing. But if someone's asking you to pay your utility bill, like your light bill, your electricity bill by gift card, that's a scam.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Well, and one more scam, if we can pivot to fake shipping notifications. Have you gotten those? I know I have.
Yes, I have.
So those are these emails or text messages that say that, you missed a delivery attempt and all you have to do is click on this link to reschedule, or they say that an item is ready to ship, but you need to click on this link to update your shipping preferences. Super tricky. You know why? Because when we order things online, you will get an email from the vendor to say, confirming your order. You might get an email saying that it's been shipped and an email saying when it's been delivered. But if you get a text out of the blue that says, click this link because you missed your package, don't click the link. If you think it might be legitimate, go to the website itself. If you bought from a particular vendor, go to the vendor's website, check the status of the shipping of your item instead of clicking that link. That link was what scammers put that in there to get your personal information. They might want to grab your financial information. Maybe they ask you to enter your credit card, or it can be used to download a virus or malware onto your computer or your phone number. But I get those all the time. And so what I do is and it's usually very vague, it won't tell you what it was or what vendor it was. So I'll usually, try to take stock and think about, did I buy something? Is it out for shipment? And I'll try to go back to my email or the original website to find out the status.
Yes, I get those quite often. I do order online, but now I never click on those. I always try to, try to make sure that it's from specifically from the company. I look for strange URLs on the email, misspellings, stuff like that. So yeah, perfect. Yeah. So unless you are for certain it comes from the organization, from the company, don't click it at all. And they
Don't.
use, that's the other thing, that sometimes they use really popular company names,
They do.
right? They use company, and you're thinking, oh, of course, this is like Amazon, amazing. And it's like, nope, it's not.
That's right. And
Mhm.
you usually it's not going to come to you out of the blue like that. And if you're buying from a platform, you can usually go to the platform. If you bought from Amazon, you can go back onto your the Amazon website and your profile and see the details that way.
Yeah. And Marisa, I know that it's not easy actually catching scammers. I know it must be difficult, but one of the things, well, we started by saying that this is not to scare you, it's to inform you and prepare you. So even knowing what is out there, the types of scams that are out there just makes you a little bit more aware, right? So even just reporting so the FTC knows what kinds of scams are taking place.
Yeah, and usually all it takes when as long as you know that there are these kinds of scams out there, the next time you see a text or one of those messages or somebody is asking you to pay in a certain way, whether it's by gift card or maybe they're asking you to pay through Western Union or money transfer, they're asking you to pay through Zelle. They're insisting that you pay in some other way other than credit card. That's usually a sign of a scam. And so all it takes is just for you to take a moment and think, is this legit? And sometimes if it's like on the phone, you can just say, you know what, can I get a callback number? And you know what they'll do? Click. They don't
Click.
want to give you the callback. They
Yeah.
just want to move on
Yeah.
to the next person. So just taking that beat and saying, you know what, I need to check this out. Can you give me a callback number? Give me your website or some details where I can get in touch with you. And they usually will end the call right there.
And I know that many of us may think that falling victims of scams is just kind of like the price of being consumers. It doesn't have to be. But Marisela, what can people do if they've been a victim of a scam?
Well, I mean, so first off, if you paid through, say, like a gift card, or let's say you paid with your credit card, you think you bought something, it never showed up, you feel like you paid a fraudulent company, what you want to do is you want to submit the complaint to your credit card company, let them know that it was a fraudulent card charge, and a lot of times they can reverse the charge. Same with the gift card companies. You want to complain to them, let them know what the fraud was, let them know when you transferred it, have your receipt at the ready, the time and date. And a lot of times they're going to try to make you whole. There are scams like, scams with fake, like for instance, right now we're traveling a lot, right? Like we're going different places. There are these rental listing scams. Let's say you're looking for a place to rent, just to get away for a few days. And you see this listing and it's really inexpensive, beautiful listing for a rental, holiday rental, vacation rental. It's really inexpensive. It looks too good to be true. Well, you want to check it out. Sometimes scammers are really clever. They take the pictures off of, the Airbnbs and the VRBOs, and they create a fake listing. And so we've heard about that. So if something's looking too good to be true, what you want to do is check it out. So sometimes with, like, for instance, with a website, if something looks like it's too good a deal, you can type in the name of the website or the name of the company that's purporting to sell you the item at a steep discount or rent you that vacation rental at a steep discount. Google the name of that company and complaint, scam. And a lot of times you'll see other people who are complaining about the same thing. But if you've already paid and been out money, then you do want to contact your credit card company, your bank, if you gave over banking information, even if you transferred the money through Western Union, something that's immediate, you want to go back to them and explain what happened. And it's worth asking. Sometimes they'll give you your money back. sometimes they're already aware of these scams, and maybe they held back the funds. You just never know. It's worth asking. And then you want to report it to us, reportfraud.ftc.gov, because what we do is we take those fraud reports, we get to see what the trends are, where the spikes are in the complaints. We also share those with our law enforcement partners. It's not just the FTC that is working to combat fraud, but it is, the city attorney, the attorney general in California. We have we're just a cohort of consumer protection professionals that are out there and looking for where the fraud is and trying to find companies to investigate and sue.
And on social media during the summer, I was seeing these videos of people, they book their vacation, they go to Europe, they show up, and people are like, why are you at my house? Right? Somebody had just posted these random locations, and people with their families show up and nowhere to go.
That's right. It's terrible. So, what you want to really investigate, if something looks like a good deal, you can even do what are called like reverse image searches of a photo to see. You would right click on the image. You might say, search image with Google option, and this will open up Google Lens. And then you can say, find image source. So it'll tell you the website or wherever that picture of the house came from. If it doesn't look like it's the rental listing company that you want to contract with, then that's a red flag. If it came from something else, like it could be a stock photo of a house, could be a house that came off of Zillow that someone just, copied and pasted onto a listing, that's a red flag. So you can do these reverse image searches too.
Great idea. Like you were saying, do reverse image searches to make sure that that's a place. You also mentioned if you're going to buy something from a company, write the company name on the search drive and do, what did you say? Scam, fraud, with a name of the complaint to see if anything comes up around that for that company, which is, wonderful.
And you can even do like whatever, like let's say it's an ad you saw on Facebook for something at a steep discount. You can do the name of the company, you can do, discount, the item, scam, fraud, complaint, and you'll see if other people got caught up in the same thing, because people will complain about these things online.
No, of course. And Maricela, I've also been hearing about people with romance scams. This is the time of year when some people, are looking for that special someone to ring in the new year to celebrate the holidays. Are romance scams still a thing? Are they still happening?
Unfortunately, yes. And this is how it works. You're going to meet someone special on a dating website or an app. Soon they want to email with you, kind of take it to the next level. They're going to call you. They might message you off the platform. They're going to use big words. They're going to say it's true love, but they live far away. Maybe they live far away because of work, or maybe they're in the military. Then they start asking you after gaining your trust and having some of this back and forth and really getting serious, or at least appearing to be serious, they start asking you for money. And it might just be because they need to buy a plane ticket to come and visit you, or maybe it's for an emergency surgery or something else urgent. They might ask you for money. And so what romance scammers do is that they will create these fake profiles on dating websites or apps, and they're going to contact you through these popular social media sites like Instagram, or maybe they'll reach out to you on Facebook, and they will put in the time to strike up a relationship and build trust. I mean, this could take weeks. It's a lot of back and forth, and sometimes they'll chat with you, several times a day, which is something that would happen if you're in a real relationship. You're talking to the person several times a day, and that's what makes it so tricky, right? They're just really sophisticated. And then after they've gained your trust, they're going to make up a story to ask for money. And I mean, it's incredible. And nobody should, people should report these scams, and nobody should ever feel ashamed. These are sophisticated actors. People have reported losses of, hundreds of millions of dollars to these kinds of scams yearly, hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
And now they're asking for payment, when they want money to help them pay for a plane flight. They're asking for it in forms of wire transfers, gift cards, and cryptocurrency as well.
Oh my gosh. I mean, anybody who comes up with cryptocurrency, to me, it's like, red flag, but you never know. And,
You never know.
when your heart's into it, when you already trust the person and, you think they're legit, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'd love to see, come see you. It's only, a couple of $1,000s to come visit you. It's like, oh, really? Oh,
Right. But you've never seen them in person and they're
I
asking you for money. So
know.
that's a huge red flag. So here are some of the lies that the romance scammers are going to tell. And they're very common. They recur again and again. They're going to
All
say they
right,
can't
wait,
meet
hold
you.
on. Let me write these
Yeah,
down. Go ahead.
let's make sure we get these. So they're going to say they can't meet you in person. They might say they're living or they're traveling outside the country. They might say they're working on an oil rig. That means if you're working on an oil rig, you can't leave that oil rig. You're living and breathing that work. They might say they're, in the military, and so they're abroad, overseas. Or they might say they're working with an international organization. Whatever the lie, they're often saying they can't meet you in person for the coffee. Scammers then will, after a little bit of time building the trust, they're going to ask you for money in some way. Again, they're going to gain your trust first, though. They're not going to ask for money in the first back and forth, because then you'll know, oh, this is a scam. It's going to take time. They
And
might ask you for help. Oh, no, please.
no, I was going to ask you, are those like for older adults? What are some of the lies that they tell older adults? I mean, to me, I would imagine some of them are already, they may be retired or something, but I would imagine they still try to make it like I'm out of town or, send me money.
No, I mean, they can be very clever. I mean, I actually have an acquaintance who had told me that they were in a back and forth with somebody they met on Facebook and they couldn't meet in person, but the person said that they just needed a little bit of money to float a payment. Like they had some kind of business payment come through, but they just needed to float it. So they needed to borrow money for the week before that. So, I mean, it's always like some really clever thing. And, it's interesting. The data don't show that older adults get scammed more. It's interesting. Our complaint data show that younger folks are getting scammed as much, if not more. They actually report getting scammed more often and paying money to scams more often than older adults. But what happens, older adult populations have more money, right? They have more savings, they have nest eggs, they have houses. So, there's just, they report losing money in higher amounts, but, so the scammers will eventually ask for money.
Sorry. And they also probably depend on us maybe not knowing what to do if we get scammed, right? They think we may be alone or, not reported or something. But yeah, you're absolutely right. More disposable income. Yeah.
Or a nest egg. So another thing that these scammers will do, they're going to tell you how to pay them. So if they need a little bit of money, they might say, and it's not just the romance scammers, it's going to be scammers of all types. They're going to want your money quickly, as I mentioned. And now your slides at the top of the show are right on point. They talk about this. They will ask you to send them money in ways that's hard for you to get it back. So they're going to say, wire it through Western Union or MoneyGram, put the money on gift cards like Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, and then they're going to ask you to give them the PIN numbers or the codes on the back. They might, like I said, ask you to send it through Zelle, Venmo, or cryptocurrency. And so if you're dealing with, someone that you're kind of developing a relationship with and they're telling you to send money to them in these forms, that's a huge red flag. Likewise, any company that's like, oh, you need to pay us this way, that's a huge red flag. The IRS, government agencies, your utility company, the gas company, the water company aren't going to tell you to pay your bills that way. That's a huge, huge red flag. So the bottom line is you don't want to send money or gifts to a sweetheart that you haven't met in person. That's dangerous. It's a dangerous game. If you suspect that someone, my light turns off over here because we're sitting so still. If you suspect that you are in the middle of such a thing, a romance scam, stop communicating with that person immediately. And as you mentioned, Patricia, talk to somebody you trust. You know, what do your friends and family say? Are they concerned about this new relationship that you've struck up online? If they are, listen to them because they're not in the middle of it. You know, when you're in the middle of something, it's hard to see what's going on. So talk to a trusted friend or family member. Search online for the person. If whatever job they say, search their name, you know, the name of the person and the job, and search the word scammer. These people are repeat players. You know, they might use the same profile over and over again, and so other people might have complained. You know, maybe you can search oil rig scammer, and you might find that there are a number of people complaining about the same thing. U.S. Army scammer. You're going to find that there are other people complaining about the same thing. You can do the same here with the reverse image search of the person's profile picture. Is it associated with another person's name or details that don't match up?
I'm sorry. How do you do that reverse picture? Somebody else, you know, asked in the comments. How do you do a reverse image? How do you do that reverse image
So
search?
you look at the image and you want to right click on it, and you can even Google this, how to do a reverse image search, and Google the result will tell you, and that's what I have. I wrote it down myself. So you right click on the image, you do a search image with Google option. This will open up something called Google Lens on the right side of the page, and you do find image source, and it'll pull up all the pictures and it'll show you the website it came from. And so, you know, if you have a person's face and you right click and you do, you know, find image source, it'll show you the website, and then you can click to that website. It might say not John Jones. It might say somebody else's name. And then you're like, oh, okay, this person just snagged that picture. Because sometimes you don't even get to see if the romance scammers sometimes won't even let you see them. They'll just do it by phone. They'll say, oh, my computer's broken, or the screen is broken on my phone. I wish I could FaceTime you, but I can't. So, you know, soon. So sometimes you don't see the person's face. They're just using a fake profile picture.
Yeah, and you were talking about the reverse image when we were talking about these rental scams, right? That they post pictures of a location. So that's what you could use it to. Get one of those pictures and see where else have these pictures come up.
That's right.
So,
and it helps you to verify, is this coming from this website only, or was this on Zillow, or was this on something else? Is it the real deal? Likewise with the person, you can follow those websites where that person's image comes up and see, is this the real person I'm talking to?
perfect. I know people are still joining us. Welcome. Bienvenidos to everybody. Thank you. You're speaking with Patricia Perez. I'm State President Emeritus for AARP California, and Marisela Segura with the Federal Trade Commission. We're recording this, so whatever you missed, don't worry, you can view it later. All right. We're just talking about frauds and scams and how to protect your hard-earned money. So if you have any questions, put it on the comments or the chat, and we'll be, you know, happy to get to it, hopefully. All right, Marisela, here's a question. Someone is being asked for their Zelle information to send them money for something that they're selling without looking at their merchandise. What can they do with the Zelle information?
You mean they want your contact information from Zelle? I mean, I wouldn't give any information to somebody who's just asking for it out of the blue. I mean, I don't know if they can break into your bank account with your Zelle account information.
That's what we're wondering.
I'm not sure if it works like that, but at this point, if they're wanting your Zelle information, you know what they have? They have your phone number and your name, and you can do a lot with, you know, starting to put together someone's identity. Don't give out any of your personal details to someone's asking for your Zelle information online.
But instead of what, I think this person is like selling something, right? They're selling something and they want to pay you, and they're saying, send me your Zelle so I can send you money. Would that still, or how can you accept cash if you're selling or money if you're selling something?
So if is a caller asking, they're selling something and they want someone to pay them?
No, the caller is selling something and the person who's buying says, give me your Zelle information so I can send you the money.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know, Zelle information does depend on a couple things. It might be your email, it might be your phone number, right? And your name. I would say you want to make sure that you trust whoever you're giving your details to. That's all. I mean, I have paid vendors through Venmo. You go and you might go to the farmer's market and there's a Venmo and you scan it and you pay them. But that's a legitimate purchase. You're buying the thing, you're there with the person selling the produce and you're paying them directly. That's okay. But if someone's telling me, I don't see the item, we're over the phone and I don't get to see what I'm buying. I'm less
Yeah.
comfortable giving any details.
Yeah.
Even if they can't use that to somehow hack into my bank account, I don't feel comfortable giving my details if I'm not totally secure that this information isn't going to get misused. I mean, you just don't know what they're going to do with that. Are they going to call your bank and say, Amari sells cigarette? I can prove to you Amari sells. This is my Zelle account information, and con someone from the bank into doing, releasing more information. I just think that you want to be absolutely sure before you give over your info.
And I've gone to many places where like craft fairs and they have their Venmo. If I'm selling something, should I set up a Venmo account and that way people can send me money via Venmo? They
I
pay me
mean,
for products
these
better
are
than Zelle?
individual choices. I mean, people, and it really depends on what you're looking to do as a vendor. I mean, some people just say I take cash only.
Yeah.
Some people do take credit cards as small businesses. It really depends on what you're looking to do and the fees associated with each of those ways. But I guess yeah. So it's an individual choice, really.
All right. And we have a question, legit question. What are the odds that the scammers will be caught and brought to justice? And why are there so many scammers these days?
Part of it is because a lot of our lives are online. And so we're not doing, I mean, I'm answering the last question first. Why are there so many scammers these days? We're doing so much online. We're not doing things face to face. You don't get to see the tangible good. So when you're doing, like, for instance, a vacation rental, or let's say you want to rent a place, you're finding that you might find the listing online, but you don't see the place face to face or in person until maybe you've already paid some money or put down a deposit. That's risky, right? We're not in person when we're buying the goods and services. So scams proliferate in these situations where we're online and they can copy a website or, snag a picture and post a fake. The other unfortunate truth of it is that a lot of scammers that we're confronting are overseas. And so they're not here locally. So, we are powerless sometimes to go overseas, and our local police are powerless. They can't go overseas and arrest someone in another country, for instance. What we can do is we can block sometimes the money from flowing back and forth. And that takes a lot of investigation to figure out where the money is going, because it comes from, the person who's paying the scammer to the scammer, and sometimes they're intermediaries. So those are really sophisticated investigations, and they're often criminal enterprises, organized crime in other countries that are supporting these. The FBI, it does a tremendous amount of work in this area. I know we've worked with criminal law enforcement partners to help giving them information they need. So that's the why. And tell you the truth, I mean, 20 years ago were people, well, maybe 20, let's say 30 years ago. I don't know when online dating started, but we're doing it more and more now, right? We're doing online dating. And so that's another avenue where we're meeting
Yeah.
people online and remotely.
And you're talking about emotional scammers. We're talking about these, love connections, but at the same time, the emotion sometimes is fear, right? They pressure you.
That's right.
Yeah,
They do. They pressure you. So a couple of other scams that happen, not just in holiday season, but I saw something come up in a chat that, they, like you said, they do prey on emotion. So right now, what are we doing at year end, or in this holiday time? We're giving gifts, we're giving to charities. So that's a huge area. It's like so sad to say that there are charity scams out there that want to take your money. So how do you spot, so for many people, we want to support a charitable cause, but they the scammers will also, purport to be a charity. So how do you spot a scammer, a scam charity? They're going to do the same old tricks as everybody else. I feel like a broken record. They're going to insist that you pay in some way other than a credit card. They're going to want you to pay by cash, by gift card, cryptocurrency, wire transfer, some quick, non-reversible method. That they're going to make a lot of vague, statements about, what their charity is, but they're not going to give you specifics. They're not going to have specific information about where the money is going. And so that's a couple ways to spot a scam. But the big advice is, if you want to give to a charity, do a little bit of homework. We have ftc.gov/charity. We have a list of organizations that can help you research real charities. This happens after disasters. So for instance, after the Maui fires in Maui, there were a lot of sham charities that popped up wanting, soliciting money to help those folks recover from the Maui earthquake. And so what we were advising people to go on ftc.gov/charity to find those organizations that can help you locate real, legitimate charities where your money is going to be put to good use. If it's a crowdfunding, sometimes these are crowdfunding requests, like those GoFundMe pages. The safest way to donate to those kinds of campaigns is only do it when you know the organizer. If you don't know the organizer, or, someone close to you doesn't know the organizer, then I would say stay away and don't give money to those crowdfunding, because you don't know if it's legitimate.
Yeah. And I know there's ways to check out charities besides if they're legit. Absolutely. If they're not legit, of course. But even some charities that spend, or organizations that spend most of their monies in solicitation rather
That's
than
right.
the charitable work. So you can go to these, somebody wrote like Charity Navigate, I forget what the name, but there's ways for you to search the organization before you give. So even, if you're trying to do something good, you want to, make sure it's going to the group, the intended group, rather than the people, putting it together. So
That's
yeah,
absolutely right. So it could be a legitimate, like 501c3 nonprofit, but you want to ask them some hard questions. If you're going to give a significant amount of money, you want to ask them, like, where does the money go? What percentage goes to the actual end user versus, your organization, or, the overhead. Yeah. If you go to ftc.gov/charity, you will find those charity watch organizations, the websites of those that do the ratings. There are a lot of organizations that give ratings of charities that will flag some as scams, and then will tell you which are the trusted charities. And they'll even give you more information that detail how some charities are spending that money.
absolutely. And you're talking about during the Maui disaster, right? That these people were, preying on our heartstrings about, give. The same thing in natural disasters. Sometimes we have them coming to communities saying, we'll fix your roof. Even in my neighborhood, I've seen those types of scams that somebody came and said, we'll do your bathroom for, $100, something like a ridiculous amount. And people say, sure. They come in, they demolish the room, and never to be seen again. So even from contractors, people who are there to fix anything like that, do your homework, make sure that you check them out, their business license, make sure they're legit businesses, any references.
Absolutely. Especially with the, contracting work. You don't want to go to somebody, pay someone money who just showed up at your door offering you some great deal without doing that kind of homework. Because they can, like you said, do some real damage, demolish your house or demolish a portion of your house and say, oh, no, we can't finish. Sometimes they'll almost like hold you hostage and say, I can't finish this unless you give me, $5,000 more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And a good way also to know what's happening in your neighborhood is, join those next door groups on Facebook or something. And that's how I found out that people these, scammers were hitting the neighborhood, and they were just going in and saying, we'll fix something, destroy it, and then go to the next house. It was terrible. But yeah, we hear you. We just need to be careful, be aware, do your homework before you commit. This is your money. So before it leaves your pocket, your wallet, your bank account, make sure it's a reputable, worthy organization. So, just do so and talk, right? Talk to people, check references, get, like you were saying, get another person's opinion, see whatever it is that you need to do. So that way you're not just on your own. You're at least, checking it out.
That's right. And I think another thing that comes up a lot, and this can come up in the context of a romance scam, or it could come in the context of just sort of a casual acquaintance. People will ask you, oh, I've got a great investment. They might ask you to invest in cryptocurrency. You had said this before, Patricia, cryptocurrency, red flag. I mean, if someone's asking
my
you,
first question would be, what's that? Right.
right.
The second one
That's
would be
right. And then they're going to
red
give you
flag.
some sophisticated answer. And then they'll be like, do you want to invest in this cryptocurrency? That's a huge red flag right
Yeah.
there.
I know. When they make it sound like, oh, quick cash, right? Quick investment. Oh,
And so that's
it's,
where you also want to do your homework. And I mean, I just think, as you said, it's just a red flag right there.
yeah. Yeah. Another question, Marisela, is AI. How is that impacting the fraud and scam that we're seeing now? Is that changing the way? Is it, how is that being impacted?
Well,
Artificial intelligence.
we're really, what we're concerned about there is that it can generate an image. So it can, copy an image, or it can copy a voice. And so what we're really concerned about there is that if someone can use AI to mimic, say, one of your family members saying, I'm in trouble, I need you to send me money right away. Go to Western Union and wire me some money. I'm stuck at the border, let's say. So we're worried about voice cloning, for instance, or someone could pretend to be your boss and say, I need you to take so much money and change, like, let's say you're working the finance department. They might say, I need you to take money and pay this vendor. With voice cloning, you might not be able to tell what's a fake or what's real. We've actually recently, we have some money that we can do innovation contest, and through the America Competes Act, we have just launched a voice cloning challenge where we're asking innovators to come up with ways that where if you listen to a recording, you can figure out if it's a fake or a real voice. So we're trying to come at that problem through a technological fix to see if innovators can come up with technology that will flag when a voice has been cloned, but we're worried about that, right? Chat GPT is a website where you can say, write me a very convincing letter for XYZ, and it will just do it. And so that kind of will supercharge any kind of a scam, because now you're not, worried about someone trying to draft a scam email. You can ask this Chat GPT to draft it for you.
Yeah.
And it might not have all the same like typos like with these
And
others.
my mother-in-law one time came to us and said, I need to, wire money because Jimmy is in trouble. And we said, who's Jimmy? And they said, one of my nephews. And we're saying, you don't have a nephew. You right? She had like so many nephews that it was like, no, you don't have a nephew. But they called, it sounded like somebody that she knew. It made it sound so convincing. But now even AI is taking them to the next level, because
To the next level.
they can get a real person's voice. They can get a real person that their voice, and use it. But I heard a great tip that I want to share with people is give your family a code number or a code word or something. Don't share it, don't print it, don't email it, just give them a code, like an emergency code. So if anybody calls you and asks you for money, grandma, I need, it's like, what is that code? What is that, password? And if they cannot tell you,
That is a great piece of advice. The same thing happened to my father. I mean, a lot of us in Southern California have family, south of the border in Mexico and Central America and South America. Well, so my father, I got to get the lights on in here.
Yeah.
My father said, "Oh, my nephew called me." Or no, it was an attorney calling for the nephew who was stuck at the border and needed some help. My father, and I do what I do, right? My father knows I'm a consumer protection lawyer. He actually got so concerned for his nephew who was south of the border. He thought he was in trouble. He went out and went to like MoneyGram or Western Union and sent money right away without calling anybody. And then he called me and he said, "I did it. I already sent it. I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, call us first."
Yeah.
And so the tip is, if you think it's a family member in trouble, call other family members. Say, "Hold on, let me get down your number." Like I said, you usually will get that click because they don't want to give you a number. But let's say they do, then you can call another family member and say, "Is this real?" Or you could be like, "Hold on," and you pick up another phone and call them,
Yeah.
He could have called my aunt to find out that he was home. Fine.
See, that issue with my mother-in-law, we found out because she needed a ride to Western Union. And
Oh.
she had her own car. She would have sent the money. All right. Maricela, we have another question here, and here's this one. I have heard from my real estate agent that my house can be sold from under me without my knowledge. I have seen ads on TV from companies who protect your home from this happening. How do they do this, and how do I protect my own home?
I am not sure if that's legitimate. I don't have enough details to tell you it's legitimate, but like, let me just say now, when you are doing anything with your home, like let's say you're getting repairs on your home, you want to really read that contract very carefully. Um, you know, I, I, it's not just as simple as selling a home right from under you. Maybe someone is doing work on your home and they put a lien on your property. That could be an avenue to, get some money out of your home. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you're working with people when it comes to your home or any deals on your home. You want to make sure you're dealing with people you trust. And don't get involved in some fancy, we can give you cash, take cash out of the equity of your home and give it to you. A lot of times those deals are really terrible and they end up making a lot more money than they give you in the benefit, and they might be able to put a lien on your property or have some kind of ownership stake. So you got to be very, very, very careful when it comes to protecting the asset of your home. I'm not quite sure that like contracting with another company to help you protect your home, that doesn't sound right to me. I know nothing about the particular business you're talking about, but it just doesn't seem right to me. It seems like another one of those scams.
Yeah, because they've seen ads on TV. It says that these companies say, of course they scare you that, somebody will steal your home from under you. And it's like, we can protect you. So the company that is selling that service is not necessary, or you shouldn't go there.
I would tread very carefully. I mean, I can't tell you it's not legit. I mean, I haven't seen the ad, but I would be very careful if someone is trying to get you to be scared that someone's going to sell your home right out from under you, and offer you a service where that can't happen. I would tread very carefully. I think it's better to really consider all of the ways that someone might be able to. No one can just walk in and sell your home, right? I mean, you have a title, you're on the title of your home. What you want to be careful are those contracts where they can actually put a lien on your property or somehow, say you owe them money and cloud the title. And so you just need to be very careful when you're doing things like, especially working with contractors and folks who are there to do home improvement stuff. And, or if they're offering you a reverse mortgage, for instance, those are very risky, very risky, business deals.
Okay. So somebody can, move forward in terms of protecting you, taking your property or I'm going to start right after this. I'm going to Google.
Well,
Can somebody
there are
sell my
schemes
house?
called like reverse mortgage schemes where they will, you sign a contract to get some money because you have some equity in your home and you want money out of your home. But a lot of times those contracts have some really terrible terms in them. And sometimes you end up inadvertently signing your property away to a third party company. But what the question was from one of your listeners was, well, I can hire another company that's going to protect me from that.
Yes, yes.
You know, I'm not sure about that. I would be very careful with any of
Right.
this kind of stuff when it comes to your home.
Yeah, I know. And you want to be careful, right? You want to be careful. That's the main thing. So even just, check that company out before you trust them that they will be there for you. Marisela, recap some of the tips for us and resources and where to go, where to report scams. I mean, recap some of the key things. So in case people have questions, we still have a bit of time.
And you have this on, like I said, your slides at the top of the top of the hour. You know, when someone approaches you and pressures you to act fast, or you're going to lose out, act fast, or they're going to be in big trouble, act fast and pay. That's a red flag. Another red flag is when they demand that you pay them in a certain way that's non-reversible. Wire transfer, gift cards, cryptocurrency, one of those payment apps like Zelle. That's a red flag. That's probably the biggest red flag if they tell you how to pay them. If something looks too good to be true, a price on a vendor's website, or like a rental, do your research, look up the vendors. You type, okay, you can see the ad, but then go straight to your browser and go straight to the actual vendor's website to see if you see the same deal. With these rental listings, you want to make sure that you check them out. So let's say you think it's a property that's on VRBO, go to VRBO and see if you can find the same property listed. If you see a scam, report it to FTC, reportfraud.ftc.gov. The other thing that I would urge is just keep in touch. You want to sign up for we have consumer alerts where we will email you updates on regular frauds and scams that we're seeing. So you can get these alerts at ftc.gov/consumer alerts. They're very simple. They'll talk about like these emerging frauds and scams, give you tips on how to avoid them, and they're shareable. It's something that you can pass forward to other families and friends. Really, that's what you want to do. You not only want to educate yourself, but you want to educate your friends, your family members. You want to tell them about what these frauds are.
Yeah. And I also want to share that there's another resource, ARP Fraud Watch Network. That's aarp.org/fraud watch network, because it not only tells you some of the, frauds and scams that are out there, things to watch out for, tips, including what to do if you have been a victim of fraud. I mean, they have maps and just so many resources. You can also call. It's at 877-908-3360. Once again, 877-908-3360 if you prefer to call. But otherwise, go to arp.org/fraud. Marisela, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been incredibly informative. We appreciate it. And I hope we are all more informed and aware and ready, right, for the new year, being a little bit more protected. You can keep your hard-earned dinero, so you can do that. Once again, let's see, we put all their information right there, Fraud Watch Network. We put the ftc.gov information there. And just thank you all for joining us for our event today. We will continue collaborating with financial experts from across the state to talk about asset protection, debt management, caregiving costs, retirement planning, how to keep your money after retirement, entrepreneurship, and more. Please join us in January of next year, 2024, for our next event. Please, and of course, you can register and watch videos that you may have missed at arp.org/Let's Talk Dinero. We've had plenty of conversations, so check out those videos there. aarp.org/Let's Talk Dinero. So on behalf of ARP, Marisela, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all. Happy holidays. Buenas noches. See you, everybody. Hasta luego. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Buenas
you
noches.
all.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.